Alright, let's see if I can remember to split this into parts again. So, All-Star break, I'm not even really going to talk about it too much. It was alright. I think the skills competition was kind of fun to watch. But the game was whatever, you know. Nothing too crazy. No great Paul Rabel goals. But were some good things. I just feel like the shot competition is a little tough, but I'm not really going to get into that because we're here for fantasy lacrosse. First game, Atlas versus Chrome. To me, this was an interesting matchup. Atlas with 2 games this weekend, Chrome with 2 games this weekend. And I'm really more of a fan of the Atlas than I am the Chrome in terms of fantasy usage. Guys like Teat, for me, is a lock. Caraway is a pretty close to a lock just because of working with Teat. And Law has hat tricks in half his games, so he's a bit of a boomer bust. Costabile, I don't really like particularly in this game. He really only has one like outstanding game played with 6 points, and he's got a couple here and there with 3. So again, he's not as he's a little bit more consistent, but if you're looking for a very explosive type of guy, he's a good like mid second type of guy. I wouldn't put him as like a lock. At short stick D mid, I really like Danny Logan. Danny Logan's been playing great. Chick at LSM, it's alright. I'm not super high on him, but he does tend to deliver more than not. And then defense, I'm not really too sure. No one has like outstanding games again, but Cade Van Raphorst is my guy to go to. In this game, I'm kind of like on him, but in the next game that they play, I do like him a lot. Someone who I actually love in this game is Trevor Baptiste. He was 63% with 9 ground balls last time that these two teams played, and I think that he keeps it up because he's been pretty hot this season. On the other side of the ball, there's not much that I really want to go with. Morel, he's good when he's healthy. Hopefully this bye week kind of helped keep him on the field a little bit. And then Joel White, to me, is a lock. He's a great LSM. He always has great stats. And then I'm kind of 50-50 on starting Galloway just because I really do like the offense in this, and I think that they're going to have the ball a lot more. But that, I guess, also gives Galloway a chance to get more saves, but his save percentage is going to most likely suffer. Although he's been hot as of late, but he's also either like at 40% or 60%. So it's a plus or minus 10, which is kind of tough to deal with. Next up, we have the team that I always like talking about. We got the Redwoods and the Archers. We're gonna start with the Archers. Actually, we're gonna start with a quick statistic. So these teams both are the top 2 lowest in scores against average. Surprisingly to me, it's going to be an interesting matchup because they're both teams who can put the ball in the net, and they're both teams who can keep the ball out of the net. I'm kind of leaning more towards this is going to be the over, just because of that fact. But we'll start with some fantasy. Grant A may lock every game, no matter what. I also like Manny and Schreiber. They're pretty close to locks as well. And another lock I have is Graham Hosick. He's just he's just a fantasy producer. Whether or not he plays particularly outstanding, which most of the time he does, either no matter what, whether he's playing outstanding on the field or really not, he's gonna play outstanding fantasy wise. Is what I'm trying to get to. And guys who I'm like on are Ambler and Fields. They could have a game, but I don't know. The stat of the 2 lowest scores against average just makes me think that the Stars are gonna have to come out to score. But I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. Although I'm not. There's also a reason why I'm kind of is because T.D. Erlin is a lock for me. I think that he's going to mop Stephen Kelly. Rob Pennell for me is a lock. I just think that he's been doing very well. And Jones for me is almost a lock. He's he's pretty close to that tier 1 lock tier, but I don't know. I can't. Just that 2 lowest score against average. Henningberg, though, is to me just as high as Jones is, if not higher, because he just always has great matchups. And the Archers are kind of on their way down the mountain, not going up the mountain, and the Redwoods are staying pretty consistent. I do like Epple in this, and if I had to pick a goaltender, I think I'd have to go with Gittleman over this. I don't know why. It's just a feeling. I just have a feeling like if you're gonna go with someone, I'm gonna go Gittleman over Troutner. Although roll Woods. After that, we got the Water Dogs and the Whips. Here, I really like the Water Dogs have been extremely fantasy viable this season, And I'll be the first to admit that I was probably wrong about most of them. I was really talking a lot of shit, saying that the Water Dogs are inconsistent, you can't really trust them, and this, that, the other thing. But Brown has really been extremely consistent with 17 points, a fuck ton of goals. And then McArdle is also low key getting 17 points himself. So he's been flying under the radar with Brown being just such a fucking menace. I really like Courier in this game. I love Courier in the first place. That guy is just an absolute animal. And then I also, hold on, let me find his. I don't want to butcher it. I really like Connor Kelly. He's not a lock for me, but I think that he's viable. Let me see. Let me get a full bio on him real quick. I want to say that this is actually our first meeting too, which is interesting. He's really a boom or bust player, although he's been consistently at like 2 points. Although he has one game with 8 and one game with 4. Rest is really about 2 or 3. He actually went off against the Redwoods, which was kind of an interesting game for him. 4 goals off of that, which was in that crazy Long Island weekend. But other than that, I don't know. It's. I think he's more of a depth guy if you're really looking for something. I like Rylan Reese as well. He's got a fuck ton of ground balls. So I just don't think that he's going to get too many this game. And then I really like Burns. I'm going to fucking forget his first name, so bear with me. But their defensive guy, Liam Burns, there we go. He has just outstanding fucking numbers in general. He's been a great fantasy asset, so I would put him as a lock for me, actually. I really like him. If you have him, play him. If you can get him, put him in. Even against the Whips. And I also think this Gobrecht I also think is viable. Eli Gobrecht, I think that you could put him in too. Although I think Burns is the better of the two. And the reason why I feel this way is because Joe Nardella for me is a lock. No offense to Jake Withers, but I just really feel like Joe Nardella is going to get most of them. And if Earnhardt is healthy, I also think that he's not only a lock just because of the ground ball potential, but that pushes me more to play Burns just because of the amount of time that they'll be playing on their defensive end. Although I still expect Courier to get ground balls. I still expect Brown to score goals. I don't think that changes no matter what. That's why those. Moving into the first repeat of the day, the Atlas are going to verse the Cannons. Here, I really like Teat, Caraway, Law. To me, they are all locks in this game. Cannons have given up most scores against average. They're the worst in that. They give up the ball a lot. They have a lot of turnovers. So expect the Atlas to have the ball a lot. And don't expect the fucking Cannons to win a lot of faceoffs. Trevor Baptiste in this as well. He's going to have a hell of a weekend. He's a lock. And I also really like Costabile. He's not a lock, but he's pretty damn close to it in this game. I think this will be a high-scoring affair, at least for the Atlas. Chick I also like, and Cade Van Raphorst. To me, they're not locks, but they're definitely fantasy viable. I really do like Cade Van Raphorst this weekend more than not. On the Cannon side, we have Lyle Thompson. You can't not play Lyle Thompson. He's been an absolute stud. Expect him to eat because he just always does. I also kind of like Ryan Drenner, although I'm not super hot about him this particular weekend, just because of the fact that I don't think they'll be getting the ball a whole lot. And, Tackman just kind of seemed to struggle more or less against, God, I'm going to forget his name, against the goaltender for the Atlas, Jack Concannon. I feel like more or less guys don't, he's just very good close range, although he has been struggling this year, but he's kind of been getting it together. He really actually struggled against the Cannons, so I would also expect him to have a bounce-back game. He only had 6 saves, 17 goals against at 27%. It's really the only game that he was below 50% other than the first week against the Archers, which at that point, who wasn't? But I would expect him to put up better numbers, to be closer towards 50%, if not a little bit above it. Paul Rabel I do like, though, because of his far-away shot and his running down the alley ability. I do like guys like Danny Logan, Cade Van Raphorst, Craig Chick. I do like them in terms of defense, but Paul Rabel's going to eat. He's got the second most points on this team, and Concannon has always been known to struggle with. He's great at stick matching, but struggles from outside. So I'd expect Paul Rabel to eat a little bit in this game. To me, I think he's a lock. Rafis is pretty damn close to it as well. The rookie has been playing extremely well, third most points in this team. He's just been consistent, man. And there's nothing more than so if you're looking for a consistent guy, you're looking like you just need points for the week. I think that he's really a guy that you can put in for that. Reset I like as well. I'm not huge about him, but I like him. And then Merrill to me is a lock. I think that just every week he's a lock. You got to put him in. I also like Jake Pulver as well, just because, like I said before, the amount of time that they're going to be spending on their defensive end is going to be a pretty insurmountable amount to me. I think that Atlas take this game. It's going to be tough for the Cannons. So the last one going into the weekend, or the last one I'm going to talk about, but this one actually occurs first because I fucked that up. Fucked that up twice now. Is Chaos Chrome. The locks in this game to me: Burn, Blaze, Farrell. So in terms of face-off, Farrell, I really like him because Chaos has absolutely no one to take a face-off for them. I like Blaze because they'll be playing a lot of defense. I like Burn just because he's super consistent. My next favorites are kind of like that Morel Heacock, just because I think they'll have the ball a lot. I think that they'll score some goals. But I'm not huge in terms of the fact that they got to go up against Blaze Reardon. I don't know. They're both young guys. Morel in particular, being the rookie. So I don't know how they go up against the to me the greatest or the best goaltender in the league. I can't say the greatest because then we get into that greatest versus best debate, and I don't need to do that right now. This is actually their first matchup of the season, so there's not really much to go off of in terms of what's going on. Morel, again, if he's healthy, you play him. Guys who I kind of like, but I'm not like, I don't know about. I like Manley, actually, because of how much defense I think that they'll be playing. Oh, I'm sorry. I like Manley. They're not going to be playing a lot of defense, but I still do like him. For some reason, I feel like this is going to be a decent game for him. I kind of like O'Keefe, but again, how much are they going to get the ball that he's going to be able to be viable? Same thing with Dane Smith. I like him. I don't love him. Troy Ray. Defensively, no one really stands out on the Chaos for fantasy purposes. I would go Newman, Rowlett, Ray. I'm not really huge about this game, honestly. If anything, I'd probably try to stay away from it. And now we're going to finish with something a little bit new. I think this will be something that I'll be able to hold myself accountable to, and I'll be able to reflect on a little bit better. So we have our perfect lineup. Offense, for me, it's Teat, Caraway. They play twice the weekend, so if it's by that, you got to play them. And I just like them, especially in that Cannons matchup. If I'm going to pick one game, it's the Cannons game. I like Teat and Caraway. I think they're going to put fucking a ton of balls in the net, and they're going to pass each. They're just going to work well. It's going to be a good weekend for them. I also like Lyle Thompson. I just feel like it's so hard to bet against him. To me, he's an auto lock type of guy. Defensively, we'll flip onto the other side of the field. Defensively, Graham Hosick, Cade Van Raphorst, and Brody Merrill. Those three, to me, I think are just an absolute lock. Goaltender-wise, it's going to be hard for me to say. I actually didn't even put one in. But off the top of my head, I immediately went towards Blaze. Let me just write that in. So Blaze for me there. I wasn't ecstatic about that pick, but I don't know. There's not really a whole lot of games I'm really huge about. Maybe, I guess in percentage, percentage I think he'll be the best, just no matter what, just because he's the animal. And in save number, I guess you could also put him as the best because he'll have the ball a lot, so fuck it, you know. So defense, Hosick, CVR, and Merrill. CVR, I said I like in both games. I think him consistently is going to be the best this weekend, consistency-wise, of anybody. Hosick, I do really like as well. I said that he was one of my locks, and I was extremely confident about that one. And what I think is going to be a high-scoring matchup, but I'm always wrong, so watch it below. And then Merrill, to me, is another guy like Thompson who's just an auto lock. Face-off-wise, TD Erlin, I think to me is going to just absolutely murk Stephen Kelly. But I would also go towards a Trevor Baptiste against the Chrome, or a Trevor Baptiste against the Cannons, or Connor Farrell against the Chaos. Those two teams as well, I think, have a pretty good shot. I think TD actually kind of struggled. I want to say that they played him before, but I just really like him in this particular week. He got a All-Star weekend. He did a couple of fucking cool flips and shit. I think that he'll have a good time this week. Midfield wise, Courier, Jones, Rabel. Courier to me is one of those guys who's just an auto lock. His ground ball ability just puts him above and beyond everyone else. Paul Rabel, I just have a feeling he's going to have a good weekend against Goalton and struggles against those faraway shots. And Jones I like because Jones to me, it's going to be a low scoring matchup, but I have a feeling that he's going to produce more assist wise just because he's been so versatile. Maybe he gets a 2-pointer in this game, maybe. Short stick D, I really like Danny Logan. Danny Logan in that first matchup, I think is going to do pretty well. So if I had to pick a matchup, it would be the first one against the Chrome. And then LSM, I'm going with Joel White. I think Joel White has just been absolutely stacked. And right now, to me, he's my top LSM in the PLL fantasy-wise. So that's pretty much the fucking podcast. I think I'm going to start doing it like this, where I had a ending segment. And then I think for my... what's today? Today's Monday, so this will either go tonight or I'll put it out tomorrow. I'm trying to keep it Tuesday, Thursday, so we'll put it out tomorrow, but we'll make it tonight. And then, this is actually my prediction week, so yeah. So Tuesdays will actually be more reflective on the week before, and then Thursdays will be the analysis of the upcoming week. We're going to get a little bit more critical on my picks, and we'll see what happens there. And yeah, I deleted all my notes on my fucking iPad like an absolute fucking idiot. So all my fucking notes are gone. So that was fucking fun. I don't know. I gotta find someone to get on the podcast. I don't know who it would be or who would really, I don't know who really even likes this shit like I do. But... be nice to get someone on the fucking piece. So if you're interested in hopping on the fucking podcast, let a brother know, because I'm trying to talk lacrosse. And let me tell you, it's a good time. Let me tell you, how you doing?